Joe and Julian finally have a conversation.
Julian, what's up, man? Promote your shit, man. Go
Happy
ahead, get in your
Sunday.
bag.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've been force fed my stuff, I'm sure you're no stranger to what's going on. Uh, yeah, I mean, obviously, I was on Roy and Maul's show. No longer am. Didn't want to shut up, so I started my own podcast, and I'm a one man team, doing everything by myself. You know, it's kind of where I'm at.
We support entrepreneurship. Good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Didn't want to shut up.
Well, Joe. I mean, I think. Oh, you're no stranger to this game. The way it works, like, they employed me. So, well, it was contracts, not like I signed anything. It was just like a month to month thing. But, in this space, when you're given the opportunity to have a microphone and that mic is retroactively taken from you, I'm sure the assumption is, well, that's it. The ride was fun. Fade off into the light. We enjoyed the content. We most likely
That's what we hope. That's what we hope
That's
it
what you
is.
could. I'm sure you felt the same. You know what I mean? I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were like, well, we had the glory days. On to the next chapter. I'm gonna keep riding. I'll fill this couch out. But that's what it was. I'm sure there was thoughts of that as well. I had other plans, and to be fair, I didn't want to. I didn't make this out of spite. This is a show I wanted to create over a year ago. But, like most people, when you're comfortable and you're doing something and my bills are being paid and I'm kind of just going about the monotony of life, I just kept pushing back my plans to better myself. So month to month would go by, I'd be like, I'll work on this show next year. Or like, the co-host fell through. I'll keep pushing this back. You know how that stuff goes. But then when this happened right before New Year's, I was like, well, fuck it. I had the battery in my back and I was like, all right, it's time to get after it. So I put everything together in 2.5 weeks.
Yes, people, you are not hearing things. What you just heard there was Joe, Budden, and Julian finally have a conversation. Now, this was very, very random because Joe, he obviously starts spaces on Twitter. He's a frequent spacer because he just loves mess. And spaces is where the mess resides. Now, this was quite different because this was a Sunday and Joe wanted to do a peaceful space. And while he was doing the peaceful space, Julian pops up. And I can't lie, I was kind of confused. I thought my phone was glitching up because why would Julian be in a Joe Budden space? Now, before I could do anything, Joe invites him on stage and they start a conversation. And for some reason, Joe was actually kind of supportive of Julian and his journey leaving the Rory and Moore podcast. Now, I know Joe called this space a peaceful space since it is Sunday. But I don't believe for 1 second Joe is doing this out of the kindness of his own heart. Joe is doing this to get back at Rory and Maul because every time he sends shots at them, it doesn't work. They don't respond to him, and if they do, it's very subliminal. So I know he's thinking in his head, let me invite Julian, the disgruntled ex-co-worker. Let me invite him on stage so the optics look crazy. And Rory and Maul are gonna have to answer for this in their new episode because it's the elephant in the room. Why is Julian hanging with Joe, Emanny? Everybody in the space is somewhat Joe Budden affiliated. So Julian hanging around those parts, it looks very crazy. And even Emanny had to say something about it.
Yo, this nigga looks corny as fuck up here doing this shit now, man. Fuck it. Y'all talking about this
Well, we
peace and
call it
love shit.
corny.
Yeah, it's corny.
Corny.
This
Why
shit
you
is whack.
saying that?
He's whack for this. He's
He
whack.
didn't say nothing
He
wrong.
haven't said nothing yet.
I
No,
don't
but
care what y'all say. I don't care what
him
y'all
being
say.
here is crazy. I
Yo,
mean, it's
yo,
crazy.
him being in here
Wait,
now, I
don't make
saw
me
him.
defend him.
Go ahead. You can defend him if you want.
We
How
can't
is
be
him being
decent
here
people.
crazy?
Yo,
Listen,
yo,
we
yo,
welcome
Joe, you
him,
got
but
these
that's
niggas.
crazy.
Joe, you got these niggas fooled.
I have no idea what's going on.
Amani, you
Imani, you feeling
I
better
don't
Yeah,
now?
E,
need
you
your
I
think I'm
feel
wisdom.
trying to
mad
be
good for this.
you think I'm trying to be a messy bitch right now?
Can you guys
Yo,
hear me?
this
Oh,
is
Julian's back.
messy.
Joe,
I'm
actually,
sorry.
Hey,
No, I
before
mute
you
swear
up,
to
answer,
God, it's
Amani.
like
All right,
every
yo.
3 minutes it's saying connections lost. It's trying to reconnect.
Joe had a question.
My
I
question
heard
to
the
you.
question. Oh
All
fuck,
right.
it's doing it again. Hopefully
This
that
nigga,
works.
this nigga shouldn't be up here divulging anything to you after all the shit he done said and did on that side. And even if you
Amani,
ain't with them niggas no more,
what did he divulge to
it
me?
it don't nothing. He shouldn't talk to you ever,
See,
nigga.
well, I think that's a mistake.
On his part.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you got to stick in that mud. Don't come now because you got fired and now want to be able to come have a conversation with a nigga that you was just talking about running down the hall and all this other abusive shit. No, nigga, fuck you. No,
Oh
ain't no
well, for
cool.
it,
You got to stay on
it
that
can be
side.
fuck me, but we can
And I
still
think it's
talk.
whack. And I think it's whack how you doing them niggas. I think it's corny. I think that shit corny. Joe, you fire me. I'm not sitting on no stage with nobody that had as an op just to get my point across about what happened in the situation and where I move from here. Nigga, you
But if
weak for that. That's
but
weak.
I want to point out that I have not asked him anything messy, nor has he said anything messy.
Just being on here and conversing with you is messy. He's corny for that. And
I
niggas
don't.
gotta
I
call it
just.
out.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
not saying he's a corny person because I don't know him as a person, but the move today is corny. It's corny. And niggas gotta call it out for what it is. I'm sorry.
Hello.
No.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Now it's hello.
We can hear
Hello.
you,
No,
Julian.
I heard everything Emanny said. I don't. I'm sorry. I
And I'm not
just.
trying. I'm not trying to be fucked up towards you because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not in a position to make fun of nobody as far as when it comes to losing a job or nothing like that. But everybody's job is critical, and you know, when you lose it, the plan is, all right, where do I move forward from it? So I'm not trying to make fun of
Sure.
any of that. But you were with those guys. While you were there with those guys, you partook in a lot of bullshit that had nothing to do with you, even without you being asked to do so. And now, when you fired by those guys, you now want to come and have a voice over here with the person that you was dissing. It's like, nah, nigga. Like, don't nah.
I
This ain't
don't
the
think
time for
that's.
that.
I don't think
Not
that
after
that's.
week one, maybe even after month one, but after week one, you already want to jump ship and come over and chop
It's
it.
that,
Like,
but I
nah,
think you're
nigga.
misconstruing. Joe and I are just having a conversation. I'm also not like trying to buddy up to Joe. I just
But
got
where
in
was
here
the
to listen.
conversation with Joe? Because Joe's had platforms before. Where was the conversation with Joe before when you were on the platform?
Well, you
Because you
can
could have did it then
understand. I'm
too.
sure everyone in here can understand. Well, if you're in this space, well, you're saying I was with them. Obviously, they had a public thing with Joe, so be it. There are times I wanted to talk about stuff that was happening. We weren't allowed to on the show. Whatever. I kind of let everything fall by the wayside. I in that time, like I was, and I was hired by them, so they made it very clear that hey, never talk about these things.
The
Don't
boogeyman.
talk
So you
about,
were
you know what I mean?
silent.
So I was never in a position to ever talk to Joe or talk like about him, so to speak. So like to what you're referring, like the two or three times I may have tweeted about something or something like the news or the headlines, I would go to the studio, I'd be like, yo, just please like don't do that, which is why it like kind of tapered off immensely with me.
Now, I don't agree with Imani a lot of times, but this one time, he's right. It looks very crazy. It looks wild that Julian, off of the heels of being fired, would be in a Joe Budden space. It just makes no sense at all. It seems like he's trying to find a home. But on Julian's part, all of this commotion and all of these back and forths and all of the chaos leads to great promo for his podcast. And you can't be mad at that. Do anything for promo at this point. But how do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like Julian shouldn't have stepped into that space and had a conversation with Joe? Do the optics indeed look crazy? Do you think Rory and Maul are gonna respond to it? Or do you feel like they're just gonna ignore the chaos? But once again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really need you guys to give me your opinions, especially on this subject. So once again, it's your boy The Kitchen. Till next time, deuces.
So like
I
I'd
mean,
say to answer your question, I've never been in a position to speak before because I wasn't, with respect to them, I just wasn't going to do that
I
behind their
get what you're
back.
saying. I get what you're saying. I'm looking at it at like this. If I work with Joe for however many years I work with Joe, and then he has let's just take DJ Head. He has a beef with DJ Head, right? Not serious beef, just back and forth, whatever, boom, boom, similar to him and Rory and all that. And then he fires me. And then The whole time him and DJ had been beefing, I've been throwing in my little pop shots and boom, boom, being funny. I don't even know DJ had like that, but I just been being funny, this and this and this and that. And then a week after I get fired by Joe, I'm in DJ Head Spaces, Key Ken. That don't look kind of lame.
Well, I think you're putting the key kings not happening. That's not what we're doing.
Talking period.
See, that's where I'll disagree with you. I don't think that there's an issue with Joe and I talking to each other.
There shouldn't have been an issue with y'all talking before. So what's the issue?
But you missed my point. The point is before I could never talk to Joe. I was explicitly like asked not to talk to him ever.